it's kind of interesting. We have like a guest in the studio that's going to be watching us.
We do. It's like the first live guest.
He's a voyeur.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because he likes to watch.
He's just watching.
It's not our first live guest. No, my dad was here. People were asking, who was that guy's? Who were those guys' legs in the background?
That's true. It was your dad, yeah.
But if they listened to the whole episode, I did say, Dad, could you do some math for me real quick?
I don't consider your dad like a formal guest, though, really.
Well, he's been on the show.
Yeah, he's just always kind of hanging out.
Right, so coming up after we get through photo news and all that good stuff, we've got my longtime friend, mentor, Matt Chow. Chow, right? I don't understand how it's Ciao. You'll see why later. What? I'm like, you've never heard that before. I'm not talking to him now. But anyway, we've got that coming up, and it's time to. We should just intro.
Yeah.
Why don't we intro? Because I'm freaking wound up today, and I'm going to tell you why.
Do it.
You know what? Before I intro, do you know why?
Let's
not intro. I am wound up because Sutter, where's your hat?
Damn it.
Sutter, speaking. Go get your hat.
Actually, where's the hat?
Damn it.
Yeah, you don't get away with that.
I forgot about that.
I had a workout, so 9:20 a.m. Usually I do 8 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm driving, and then Bridge Street to Cottman was like a crawl because of an accident through the construction zone.
Gotta love it.
So I only got in half an hour, but we crushed it. So I'm wound up and getting back here, and then there's companies that want to send us bags and stuff, and now I'm dealing with tripods, I'm dealing with this, and then we're doing our show. Jared Polin, FroKnowsPhoto.com. Welcome to RAWtalk, episode number 102, a.k.a. 10 Deuce.
10 Deuce.
10 Deuce. Uno o Deuce. Is that good Spanish?
I forget how you say zero in Spanish.
I don't know.
I don't know.
But I do not have a title yet. We'll have a title later. And Sutter, how was your week?
Good. What about you?
It was good. Sutter's taking extra notes today so that we can try to get better bullet points for you guys to understand what's going on in each episode, because obviously from a title, you can't get everything that's going on, and I want to make sure that you guys are informed in the description. So if Jared's like, Jared gives out the greatest tips in sliced bread, then you know that Jared gave out the greatest tips in sliced bread, and you might as well watch it or listen. You should watch and listen all the time. How was your week, by the way?
It was solid. We had the wedding.
The wedding?
Should I talk about that now?
Yeah, talk about the wedding.
The wedding was good. So my job basically was to photograph the groomsmen. I wasn't actually in the wedding, but to help out my sister. What are you looking at?
Is that a sock in between the dryer?
That nobody can see. Who cares?
I see it. It's in my eye view.
Okay, anyway, so I wasn't in the wedding, but they asked me to photograph the groomsmen getting ready, and they wanted to do a couple things before, he went and got married, like go and eat cheesesteaks and a couple things around Philly.
Lame.
Cliche. But so the wedding photographer, being only one of them, he had to go and photograph the bridesmaids getting ready and all that kind of stuff, and the bride, obviously.
What's his name?
I'm not going to say his name this week. But yeah, so he did that. I did the groomsmen, and I think I got some pretty good stuff out of it. But I was like, I didn't change fully into my suit until we got to the actual ceremony, which we got there like 10 minutes before it started. And I'm a sweaty guy naturally, so I'm like sweating like crazy. I have just my regular clothes on because I want to get on the ground and do some cool angles and
Sweating
stuff like
to
that.
the oldies.
So I ran real quick in the bathroom like 5 minutes before the ceremony started, switched onto my suit.
Quickie.
Real quickie. And then ran up and did the ceremony part. But
well,
yeah, it worked out well.
So you haven't seen the guy's images yet?
He did show me a couple in camera, which his lighting setup was pretty sweet inside the where they got married. I'm sorry, not where they got married, the ceremony.
For anybody
the reception.
For anybody that doesn't know what we're talking about, you can refer back to episode 101 where we talk about... was it 101 or was it 100?
100, and then 101 we talked about leading up to it.
Right, so in 100 we talk about the photographer... the issue that your sister had with the wedding photographer 2 weeks prior, saying that he's not shooting the wedding, but somebody else is, and blah, blah, blah.
Correct.
And so I know the other photographer. We talked about that in 101, and that leads up to now in 102.
Yep. So, yeah, I mean, he showed me a couple pictures along the way. His posing was pretty solid the entire night.
Which he's good at the posing stuff.
Yeah, and he kicked ass. I mean, I will say he put... 200% into the wedding. I think because he felt bad of the whole, obviously switching photographers last minute and all that stuff. And he did stay until the very, very end of the reception. Like, I think he left after me.
Right.
So I think he did good. I think he earned it. So I don't know. We'll see until the actual pictures come out.
Cool, yeah, because that's it. So I'm going to give Sutter some tips here for writing down, like, so we can get an idea, and you guys at home can get an idea of what we're looking for. So you can do, like, we found out how the replacement photographer was at Steven's sister's wedding.
Yes.
Like, I think that's a good bullet point for you to write down. Did you already do that?
In different terms, but yes.
Do it in
It's written
Jared's
down.
terms. The right terms.
Let's worry about that after.
I am,
We'll figure
but
that out.
I just wanted him to know because as I thought about it,
Yeah.
because that's important. All right, so you had your sister's wedding.
Yep.
Why don't we get to Pluggy McPluggerson because we got a box from Rode.
Okay.
That I'm gonna open. I already cut it open just so that it could be open and ready to go. Because they send weird. They're like, you always think they're gonna send something, and you never know what it's gonna be.
Giant microphones.
So we didn't know what. Well, maybe it was gonna be a big ass microphone, but this time, let's open it. There's a lot of writing on the back. It says like rugby shirts and hats. So there's a note in here.
What's in the box?
What's in the box? Here we go. Hi, Jared. Here is some Rode swag from our store for you to wear or give away.
Swag.
We also wanted to pass swag.
Swag.
We also
Swag.
wanted to pass along a discount code for your readers to store.rodemic.com. The code is IShootRaw. All one word, all uppercase. It's going to be active as of September 7th, and I believe it's going to run for about a week. But that's what it says here. So let's see how this stuff is, because that's a code. I didn't tell you how much the code's off for.
No.
It's 50% off.
Wow.
It's kind of like they want to just give this stuff away, but 50% off.
So they kind of sell merch.
Well, I guess it's more like a giveaway thing. It's more so, I mean, for what they're selling it for.
A giveaway that you pay for.
Well, but you know what I'm saying? They use
No, I
it
know.
as promotion.
Yeah.
But when I don't know how much hats are. What is this?
50% off $300.
This is a heavy fleece jacket.
Ooh, that's nice.
This is nice.
Is that a jacket or a hoodie? Or a hoodie jacket?
Oh, it's a hoodie jacket, but feel
a
the
zip
weight
up.
in this
Let me
thing.
see this. Wow.
So whatever it is, it's going to be.
That's thick.
It's heavy, and it's not your brother. That's going to be $150.
Dollars?
It's not $150. Whatever it is, it's 50% off. Because I did look up some prices when they told me that they were going to be like a store thing. Oh yeah, here. Yeah, throw that on the floor.
The stitching and stuff is really solid.
It's actually solid because it's probably Australian. This is a rugby shirt. You will like a rugby shirt, Matt. I don't know if it comes in Australian size medium or regular medium, but look how awesome this shirt is.
I think it still looks like every Pittsburgh team
It
color.
looks like a freaking Penguin shirt.
Steelers,
it
Penguins,
has a
whatever.
67 on the back. I thought it was a Sidney Crosby shirt at
Isn't
first.
67 like the polo
Well,
number they always throw out there?
It says
Ralph Lauren?
says recording since 1967.
That's
but this
cool.
clearly is a Pittsburgh Penguins shirt.
yeah.
Masquerade, but this is $35, and if you use 50% off, I shoot raw.
Oh, 35 standard.
It's $17.50. Feel the weight in that thing.
Wow.
My dad is gonna love this shirt.
That's
Except he may. You know what he may say? It looks too much like a Penguins Crosby shirt.
He's
I'm not
definitely
wearing
gonna say
it.
that.
I'm gonna burn it.
That's nice. That's really nice.
But if you're like Sam Green and you want to wear that, no. But actually, that's a really nice rugby shirt.
they got more stuff in there,
Yeah, there's another rugby shirt.
let me throw it as hard as I can.
There's awesome. I want to be on the varsity team, everybody. Ooh. Here, throw that for me, please. This is a varsity jacket, actually, and I like it. Oh my god, it says Rode really big. So look, if you want to be a walking, if you use if you use this stuff, which we do, I could see wearing this jacket out.
This is really nice quality.
Oh,
all
by
this
the way,
stuff.
this is a $40 jacket.
Are you serious?
$20 using the code.
Dude, if I bought this off like a band's merch, it'd be like $100.
This would be $100 just for a merch jacket,
Oh, yeah.
and they're not done as good. I actually want to find out what material this is because I will get some I Shoot Raw
whatever the
ones made.
stitch. I mean, this isn't just like the logo stitched on. It's actually
It's embroidered.
Embroidered.
It's called
Is
embroidery.
that what it's called?
Yes,
Yeah.
we have
Really,
embroidered
really
stuff in
nice.
our store.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's move on. .org. This is a nice varsity jacket. I don't know why they have jackets in Australia because does it even get cold?
I'm sure parts of Australia get cold.
I doubt
Australia's
it.
huge.
It doesn't get cold.
It definitely
Never.
gets cold.
Australia does not drop below 74 degrees Fahrenheit. Never goes below 30. Never gets to 32 degrees Celsius.
Yes.
Oh shit, 0 degrees Celsius.
Yes.
I don't know Celsius. We're dumb Americans. Anyway, go to store.road. Wrong paper. store.roadmic.com. And that's MIC. The code is I shoot raw, 50% off plus shipping. But even for that stinking shirt, man, $20 for that
that's-
varsity jacket.
that's pretty awesome.
It's cheaper than anything you're going to buy. Anyway, so that's what they wanted me to say this week. Right before we get into photo news, I have a gift.
Oh, yes?
A gift that keeps on giving to you.
Oh, to me. What, is it a varsity road jacket?
Yes. How did you know?
Oh, I know what this is.
Look at that.
Are these
You don't know what they is, B. So what Steven
Did
is
you make
taking
them
out
wrap
right now.
this, or did you wrap this?
There's something from plasticprinters.com wrapped with a bow. Hold it up to the camera, this one. And let's see what is in Steven's box.
Did they wrap this?
Yes, they did. They wrapped it for you.
Oh, God, I need scissors. This is not going to work.
Sutter, scissors me.
Wait. Might not need them.
Let's see what's in there. Can you rip it open like you're not playing like a
There we go. Got
somebody
it.
who's going to reuse the paper that says plasticprinters.com? Just open it just a bit.
I feel like it's Christmas.
But it could be Hanukkah
Could be
or
Hanukkah.
Kwanzaa.
Chris Mahana Kwanzaa.
Happy Hanukkah.
Ah.
It's time for Hanukkah.
So
smoke your gin and tonica.
Oh, that's cool.
Have happy.
They spelled my name right, too. So these...
Oh, shit. I thought he was just going to say they spelled my name wrong. I was like, and they spelled my name wrong.
No, they spelled it right.
So what is it? Describe it to the people that listen in their ears.
This is basically almost the same business card that you got
Yeah.
for yourself, except it's in Canon red.
It's in Canon red instead of green.
Green, which I did ask for. And then it also says Steven at fronosphoto.com on the back instead of obviously Jared at Fronosphoto.
Yeah, being that Steven is
That's
full-time,
cool.
it was time for him to get his own card.
Yeah.
And he liked the design that I had for mine, and I just wanted to differentiate them. So he has ones in red printing.
That's really nice.
And so put them to the side. I'll give you one of those cases.
So many.
That's 500 maybe?
Yeah,
Really?
it says it on the side, 500.
Oh, yeah.
that's it?
So anyway, plastic printers, they want to get on the wheel of Fro, so I got to put them on there and stuff like that. Yeah, so
Thank
why
you.
don't
That
you
was
clean that
awesome.
up? You're welcome. Let's get to the
And thank you, Plastic Printers, for wrapping it all nicely.
plastic printers.
Yes.
They and people have been getting their cards, and some people that place orders now will get one of those cards in the mail, and also one of the bag tags from the
Okay.
store,
Cool.
from my store. Heidi's just throwing them in randomly.
Gotcha.
I will tell you that during the holidays. But anyway, it's throwing them in there randomly. How we doing? You good?
Good.
All right, let's get into the photo news.
Photo news, we have Instagram's engineers. They released a complete rundown of how the technology and stabilization works in their new Hyperlapse app.
Yeah,
that
there's a
everyone's
little
raving
like
about.
there's like a little monkey inside of the in the phone that keeps everything stable. Stable.
He's constantly moving his hands. So they explain how it takes a still image every 6 frames of video at 30 frames per second. So it might not be true hyperlapse, but it still mimics the effect quite well. They break down the algorithm of their stabilization, which basically is a cropped in center frame of the full shot that stabilizes the video. They call this adaptive zoom. If the video barely has any shake, however, the crop factor is minimal. It really just depends how shaky your hand is when you're photographing it. They showcase how the crop works in the new video, which with the new frame marked out, and have a whole bunch of like technical specs on their engineering blog. It's just a really interesting read. You really got to check it out. So if you're interested in seeing how hyperlapse works, check it out.
Go to fronosphoto.com/rawtalk-102.
Yep. Now Canon has...
Hey, Steven, have you tried hyperlapse?
I have.
Because I shot it I was going up to New York to the U.S. Open, and I'm holding the camera out the window, not out the window of the train, near the window of the train, and I'm doing it horizontally.
Mm-hmm.
But then when I posted it on Instagram, it went vertical, and everything was running vertically.
Yeah.
But then when I filmed the next time horizontally, it worked properly.
Really?
Yeah. Are you supposed to hold it vertically?
No, I'm pretty... Yeah, portrait, you're supposed to hold it.
No,
Vertically.
but
Not
I was
horizontal.
holding it landscape.
You're supposed to do it vertically.
You are?
Yeah. I believe that's how it's supposed to work.
I've done it both ways, and it's...
Well, what I did, I don't think it really matters, because if you use Square Video instead of Square Ready, it's like their video version.
Oh, there is?
You can actually, it doesn't matter what video size it is. It won't crop it. It'll put white borders and bars basically on the side of it.
Square Video.
Yeah.
Discover how to make your video square
I
in
think
Instagram.
it's called Square Video. It's something like that.
We'll find it and we'll get it in
It's
those
the
show notes.
Square Ready, basically, it's their video version. But
Got it.
It's really nice, and you can actually flip it and do 90 degrees and all that kind of stuff. So if you did shoot it horizontally and it won't let you flip it, you can do it in that app. So Canon has dropped their official prices on most of their L lenses, ranging from 5 to 33% off, with some even going for $1,000 off MSRP. For example, the 24-70 f4L IS is now going for $1,000, which is $500 off its initial price point. So that's a great buy. Another famous L lens, their 70-200 f2.8L IS2 lens, dropped 8%, with $200 being knocked off. And the biggest.
So what's that? $2,100 now?
20 something like that. Yeah,
it should be down to maybe $2,099.
I think their version 1 is around that price. But the biggest price drop are their larger lenses from the 300-2.8L and above, who have had up to $1,000 shaved off their price. So if you need some new top-of-the-line Canon glass, now's the time to get it. Or obviously kind of wait till Photokeen is over and they might announce some new lenses or something like that.
Well, here's the thing. I'm trying to get Canon to get us some NDAs, to get us information, because I'm on the press release list.
Okay.
But I only get press release when shit gets announced, which how are we supposed to make a proper video beforehand like we do with Nikon when they give us NDAs and we have time because they understand the importance of the fro readers out there because they want to know the information and they want it quickly. You know, so I would really like for Canon to get off their tuchus and get us an NDA for this stuff so we know what's going on. Just because that helps us prepare the show. For instance, if what's the next one? The 70 Mark II? If that's going to be announced after we record this, we're not going to be able to know about it.
Yeah.
But if we knew about it and we knew when our stuff's being released, we'd be able to do this and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
You know, so that's it. And I want to do more Canon stuff. We want to do more Canon stuff, but Canon needs to get on our team.
Maybe it's because you were so pro Nikon for so long until I came aboard.
That's not true. I think it's because they've had their PR people shift 8 trillion times.
Or that too.
And then it's just like, who do I talk to?
So moving forward, there's a new photo booth that will probably make its round at just about every wedding. It's called the Light-O-Matic booth. However, this booth is a little different as it lets friends and family light paint their portraits.
I just got my toe stuck in the chair wheel.
Cool, don't care. The light type booth gives people 2 minutes to light paint whatever with colorful LEDs. Once they step inside, then it pops a flash to light the participants at the end of the exposure. It's not the cheapest to rent though. Prices start at around £3,800 or about $5,000 US. So I feel bad for the photo booth attendant who will pretty much have to explain the process of light paint to every single person.
Is it cool or not cool?
It is really cool. I mean, most photo booths, like the one at my sister's wedding, for example, it's your standard photo booth. You all jump in, you take a picture, and that's it. This one, you get a couple LEDs. It exposes for 2 minutes. You write whatever message.
2 minutes?
2 minutes.
No.
So you have a lot of time to expose.
No, that's terrible.
Stuff.
So you could use your penis with an LED on it to expose?
If you want to do that, maybe. But I will say it's a complete light tight booth, so you can really get naked and do kinds of stuff in there.
Is it light tight?
So basically, you get 2 minutes of that, and then they pop the flash, and then
So it's like 2 minutes in heaven, or was that 7 minutes?
It was 7 minutes in heaven, but
I
it
never
could be
spent
2
any
minutes.
minutes in heaven as a kid.
That's unfortunate.
I know it is. I didn't have a group of friends like you did. Where you got 7 girls, 7 guys. Sounds like a party.
It does sound like a
party. All
party.
at once. Why don't we play Spin the Bottle?
Hey guys, let's go in the Light-O-Matic photo booth.
Wait, we're 27. Why don't we just play Spin the Bottle now?
I don't know what you're talking about.
I want to play Spin the Bottle.
Well, we're not going to play it now. It's all a bunch of dudes, so we'll play it maybe later at a party.
Well, okay.
You do have a perfect table for it.
I do?
Mm-hmm. It's a round table. Spin the bottle.
Oh, and there's an app for it,
I mean, if I was 12, we could do it.
Yeah, around the poker table. Hey, guys, you want to go spend 7 minutes in heaven with me?
Mm-hmm.
Hey, you could get 7 minutes in heaven with Jared. Go ahead.
It's already there.
So there's a new law currently in the works in the Philippines which will make photographing strangers without permission illegal, even if they simply appear in the background of your image. It's called the Protection Against Personal Intrusion Act, House Bill number 4807. It states that any person who willfully intrudes into the personal privacy of another without the consent of that person and with the intent to gain or profit therefrom shall be civilly liable to the offended party. Now, there's no timeline as to when they vote on the bill, but let's just hope that this obviously doesn't get passed, especially for you street photographers out there.
Right. But for most people taking selfies, it's like you're not looking to profit from your selfie. But speaking of privacy and selfies, how about all those celebrities this week? All right, let's give a round of applause for the celebrities for posting their naked photos by accident.
I know what you're talking about.
I looked.
I heard there was even video leaked or something like that.
I didn't see the video.
I didn't see any video either.
I Googled. I got to say.
They did do a good job of erasing half of them.
This is
though.
one of the hardest.
Not that I looked for them.
Nude photos ever that have been leaked to find because they've been threatened with all. Like, you know what pisses me off? A guy like Perez Hilton will post it originally and then take it down and apologize. Maybe the guy who built up his career on being a douchebag and making fun of people and drawing white stuff on their face
and stealing pictures and writing
stealing
on it.
pictures and then ending up getting sued and does it right and now lost like 180 pounds because he looks like a thin guy. It just maybe his company should think about slandering people, but that's all that company's all about. That's what people want in this world, is to just gossip and see naked celebrities.
Yep, that's all I want in this perfect world. Naked celebrities.
I didn't say you, but I wanted to see Jennifer Lawrence naked.
She looked pretty good.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. Not that I've looked. Sony has announced the QX1 and QX30. They're two more new smartphone-mounted lens cameras, which are pretty much an upgrade to their initial QX100 and QX10 models. Now, the QX1 is a lens mount that will take any E-mount lenses and sports a 20.1 megapixel APS-C sensor this time, a Bionz X processor, and even a pop-up flash, and it can shoot RAW. It'll cost $400 for the body only. It basically turns your smartphone into a mirrorless camera for the most part. Now, the QX30 has 20.4 megapixel half-inch sensor and 30 times 25 to 1750 millimeter equivalent lens f3.5 to 6.3. Also shoots 10 frames per second, and it'll cost $350. I wonder how many people are actually going to buy this, because it's a great idea, but is it practical?
Well,
I do love that now they have an APS-C sensor body for it.
Right. That's cool. You can use your lenses on it.
Yeah.
But hey, how about I just use a freaking camera and stuff? I was talking to a friend of mine, this girl, and she's just all like, I'm thinking about buying mirrorless because it's lighter. Well, it's not lighter if you put quality glass on it. It's basically going to be the same damn thing. So I'm not a fan of the mirrorless. This thing is interesting, but I don't... What are you going to... You got your cell phone. You've got this adapter. And then you've got your lenses that you're still carrying around. It's the same freaking thing.
Well, the thing is, too, with their A7 series, I mean, they're already small cameras to begin with.
Now, those are small and powerful.
Yeah, but it's literally going to be the same thing. By the time you mount that on your Sony smartphone or whatever smartphone, it's going to end up being almost the same size. So why not just bring the A7 bodies?
Those are nice. And we're going to see all of this stuff out at Photokina, where we're going to be doing man-on-the-street stuff. We are in Germany on that Monday evening and Tuesday. We will be at the Tuesday that the show starts. We will be at Photokina walking around. 16th, which is Wednesday, we'll be at Photokina walking around. But we're going to be working. We won't ignore you. We will absolutely stop and say hi. If you guys stop and say hi, we'll be doing some man-on-the-street stuff. I don't know that we're going to be doing a RAWtalk, but I definitely want to do a meetup. Possibly, we could say Wednesday evening after the show is over, we could meet at the Kölner Dome or something like that and find a bar and get some Kolsch.
I'm sure we'll meet up sometime. And we'll probably film the whole thing regardless. So even if we don't end up doing a RAWtalk there's going to be a bunch of footage.
Well, we're filming what we're doing.
Oh, yeah.
Because I think the importance of us going there is not to sit around and take the 4 hours that it may take start to finish to get RAWtalk done.
Yeah.
It's for us to spend the limited time that we have at the show making content.
Gotcha.
To make a full-on Photokina review type show.
Yeah.
Because I think that's important. Before we jump into that, I forgot to say that there's the second annual Allen's Nikon-apalooza on October 18th at Allen's Camera in Levittown, PA, 4401 New Falls Road. 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. We will be doing a RAWtalk there, rain or shine, in a tent. There will be a taco truck. If you like tacos and you want to eat some, you can come to Allen's to get a taco
Just
truck.
for the tacos.
Just for the tacos. There will be an SLR giveaway that Allen will be giving away. So that could be it's going to be a Nikon, obviously. There may be some other Nikon-related things happening, but if you are interested in trading in gear towards new Nikons, this is a good opportunity to trade in your gear, whether it's Nikon, Canon, Sony, any type of gear you want to trade in. If they take that type of gear, there may be some bonuses available to get more money.
Can I trade it in for a Canon?
Well, I think you end up getting store credit and stuff.
Oh, really? They actually will probably
I don't know. I don't know that answer. You'll have to ask them there, but So basically, you will trade your stuff in, and that's good towards a future purchase.
Gotcha.
You can't reuse it that same day.
Okay,
Just
cool.
I asked why, and the reason isn't because they don't want you to use it right away. It's because Nikon has rules that you can't run a certain promotion for a certain discount on the same day.
It's so
You
weird.
could lose your Nikon professional dealership thing.
Okay.
It's just they have this whole program now that limits what you're allowed to do because they wanted to be like Apple and have pricing be consistent. It was basically because B&H would sell a product so low and nobody else could compete with it because they're selling it for under cost.
It's like the Walmart of
which they can't do
online.
anymore. They can't do it because it has to be within a certain percentage so that it's fair across the board.
Cool. That's interesting.
That's October 18th, 10 a.m. to 3 p.m., and the Stevenses will all be there, I believe.
We will.
And we have giveaways and live Wheel of Furrow.
So 14 million historic photographs and images collected from over the past 500 years. What are you doing? This is what people don't understand is I got to deal with you doing stupid things on the side and try and keep a straight face.
I'm looking at Matt.
Yeah, but usually eating the microphone or like picking your nose or something.
I never pick my nose during the show. I save that for after, and I already licked the microphone when you were doing news earlier.
And I didn't say anything that time, but I had to say something that time. I'm going to start that over. 14 million historic photographs and images collected from over the past 500 years of books. They're making their way into the Flickr. What are they? Into the Flickr Commons, courtesy of an organization called the Internet Archive, which it's a digitalization project attempting to make imagery from the past 500 years available online. Anyway, the organization is using special software designed by Kalev Litaru and they've basically already gone through over 600 million scanned library books, automatically pulling out, cataloging, and tagging all the imagery in those books.
And have they been posted yet?
They have a lot of them been
because
posted.
I can't find it.
Well,
it's organized so piss poorly.
It is organized pretty bad. Now, the Internet Archives hold about 16 petabytes of imagery, about 14 million images in all,
that could get you a lot of years in jail.
which were published in books from 1500 to 1922 when copyright restrictions began to take effect. Now, 2.6 million of those 14 million images are now online on Flickr. They're still posting more. I mean, it's kind of hard to post 14 freaking million images.
It's so hard to find these images. They're like, oh, you could search, but I don't know what to search for. Somebody needs to catalog these things better so that we can go in there and be like, there's galleries to click on, and then in there, we'll like randomize, pick stuff. I just want to look through them.
Well, I think if you randomly browse, it's tough to find what you're looking for. But if you have something specific from a certain book, you can probably, I'm sure they have some kind of tag on that relates to that book.
They need the Dewey Decimal System.
I mean, this is the stuff I wish I had when I was writing papers and stuff in high school and college. You know?
Mean the internet?
The internet,
Because when I was a kid...
but I'm saying Flickr, with it being free, in the Commons library, you can use it.
Well, Encyclopedia Britannica came knocking one day, and my parents bought it thinking that us kids would be smarter by having the Encyclopedia Britannica, which I have no idea how much that thing actually costs.
Probably
a couple $1,000s because, well, our kids are worth it and they need to learn. And we would go down there and open up that book every once in a while and find something and be like, oh, God damn, do you even know what the Encyclopedia Britannica is?
Very vaguely.
My grandfather actually has like every encyclopedia book you can think of.
Do you know who Encyclopedia Brown is?
No.
Me either.
I
think it was a TV show.
I don't know what that is either. But yeah, he still has every single encyclopedia you can think of, like on his shelves in his house. It's pretty cool.
We found out that Steven Sutter doesn't know what Encyclopedia Britannica is.
So meanwhile, a new web app that's similar to TweetDeck, you'll like this for Twitter, is now available for Instagram. It's called PicDeck, such a unique name. The interface is extremely similar to TweetDeck, like I said, where it basically lets you organize your Instagram feed into separate streams. You can create the columns based on certain users' images or even hashtags. Currently, the only pitfall of this app is that you can't use multiple logins and can't create or schedule posts, but I think Instagram is the one limiting this. I don't think it's the app itself. So they already are working on location-based columns, which will be really cool, and other specific features for the near future, though.
It's a pretty cool app sounding.
It is.
Sounds pretty cool.
Well, and there's really no way to search through Instagram, especially location-based stuff.
Well, there's search.
Yeah, but location-based stuff.
Well, when it's tagged, you click on that tag.
Yeah, but with this, if you, say, have a restaurant or something and you want to check out everyone that's posting a picture from that area, you can probably just, make a column of that location.
That would be cool.
Yeah. So some new fascinating photos of smoke from Thomas Urbick are now online. It wasn't an easy task to complete either, as it took the photographer 3 full months to complete the series, with over 100,000 images taken, 1 dead camera, and only 20 keepers in the end. He says...
Well, that's a pretty low percentage of keepers.
It's a very low percentage. That's probably like less than 1%, I guess, right?
Well, it depends how many he took. Did you say
100,000.
Oh, because I wasn't paying attention.
Yeah.
And he had 20 keepers?
20 keepers.
That's under 1%? That's like 0.2%.
I was going to say, isn't that...
0.02%.
Something around that. He says in quotes, "The rising of cigarette smoke is actually so quick that conventional flash equipment is too slow, as is the photographer. Only a few
Well, he should have used the MyOps.
That's true. Only a few milliseconds pass between recognition of the subject and the taking of the shot, a length of time in which the smoke has already changed again. I therefore used a quick flash with a flash duration of 1/10,000th of a second or faster, and took more than 100,000 digital photos in 3 months, which killed one of his cameras, like I said. The poor photos were immediately separated out of the laptop and rejected. Only 20 or so of the photos actually made the short list," end quote. Now, the cigarette smoke created some unique shots, though, with some looking like a human head, some showing spiral symmetry, just really neat stuff and interesting stuff, but I would not spend 3 months to do this.
First off, cigarette smoke? Mm-hmm. How much money did he spend on cigarettes?
That is true.
How much?
Didn't think about that.
How many carcinogens went into his body from all of that secondhand smoke?
Wonder if he had any proper ventilation.
Why didn't he possibly think about using medical marijuana? That may have been a better time, and his photos may have turned out better.
And he probably would have only took like 10 and been like, "Oh, this looks pretty good."
Hey, bro, this looks all... You know, somebody needs to do a series of photos where you have to be high to look at them. You just won't get it if you're not high. Right?
Isn't that
no? That's the
isn't
magic.
That abstract imagery? I mean, photography.
I thought it would be like, oh my, you see, it's out of focus. No, man. No, man. You're not
It's
high.
out of this world.
It's
You're
not
out
out
of
of focus. Yeah, you just need to focus better. Here, smoke this.
Oh, I see
Wait,
what you're saying.
wait, I'm gonna hold it in. Oh yeah, man. You're so right, man. It's totally not out of focus. It's just I was out of focus. You're so right. I want a brownie.
No, for the audio people out there, you got to hit the water bong again. Remember, like you did that.
Oh, like last week.
hit
What
that.
did I do?
Here, I'm passing you the bong right now. You got to slurp it. Oh, that's a big hit.
It's we
That's
actually
gonna
don't
sound
smoke
great.
weed, so it's just
No, we really
play fun weed
Yeah.
smoking.
So let's see. Speaking of low light, researchers have found a way to capture pictures in almost complete darkness. The University of Glasgow and their team of scientists combined a number of existing techniques to capture the images where we would see only as complete darkness.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
When the guy was doing the smoke thing, did he do any of it over water?
Smoke on the water.
Smoke on the water. Bam, 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 bam. C, D, C, A, B. I don't know if those are the actual chords to that song.
Probably not.
But some guitar player, please, hashtag, Jared, the chords of Smoke on the Water are C, D, B, A, C, B, D, bam. I just made that up.
I figured. The process pairs photons together to gather information from an image while using an algorithm of sorts to measure the data points from those photons and pull more info from less input, if that makes any sense.
What did you say?
All in all, they were able to capture an image with less than 0.2 photons of light per pixel, which is pretty insane. I don't really know what that means, but I know there's really no light, and they're capturing an image.
You lost me at... This week we found out that if you smoke weed, out of focus photos become in focus.
But basically, they're photographing like a macro shot of a wasp wing,
Right.
And it's again complete darkness. We can't see it, but the image ended up showing up. And
Was it cool?
They combined a couple techniques. Yeah, it looks pretty cool. I mean, it looks super grainy and like the beginning of digital photography all over again. But still, it might be something in the near future that maybe will get worked on with new sensors.
Nice.
Yeah. We have YouTube user Red5 showcases what it's like to save your quadcopter from falling in the water.
Do you know who Johnny Number 5 is?
Johnny Number 5.
Johnny Number 5. Johnny Number 5. Matt does. Do you know who Johnny Number 5 is, Steven?
Refresh my memory because
I will in a minute. Do you know who Johnny Number 5
I
is?
have no idea.
Matt, you want to yell it out?
The robot from Short Circuit?
It's the robot from Short Circuit.
I don't know if
I don't even know
Johnny
what
number
Circuit
5.
is.
The greatest song ever in a movie is Johnny number 5. He goes into this song. I'll wait till Steven resets my camera so you can get a close-up of me. But so basically, anybody, if you haven't seen Short Circuit, it was a great movie. I think there were a couple of them. This guy builds this robot, and it's called Johnny number 5. And I say that because the guy was Indian that built it, so that's how he had that accent. So Johnny breaks out, and he gets into a gang called the Locos. And he goes... The locos kick your ass. The locos kick your face. Oh, no, he goes, the locos kick your face. The locos kick your balls into outer space.
Oh, I've heard you say this
And I was
before.
such a kid, I thought that was funny.
Is it like Weird Science where they make a super hot girl robot?
No, Weird Science. She wasn't a robot.
Yes, wasn't she?
She was not a robot.
She was a
in
real
Weird
person?
Science. She was a real person.
they built her.
With feelings.
With feelings.
I thought she came from the future.
No, they like designed her and then she came to become like a real life robot.
She was like a magician.
I don't know.
All right.
real boy.
So I'm going to start that over. Again, this YouTuber.
You have potential. You have potential. You have one of the best
commercial?
Geico commercials.
I love that one.
Pinocchio as a motivational speaker. You have, and his nose just keeps growing because he's full of shit, and so are motivational speakers.
So this guy showcases what it's like to save your quadcopter from falling in the water after the battery dies. He uploaded a video where he's seen flying his DJI Phantom 2. I'm sorry. The G Phantom 2, only for the second time, and it was over a lake.
Well, because that's the smart thing to do.
Oh, yeah.
The second time you fly your quadcopter, to fly it over a lake.
Or maybe like the Grand Canyon, a giant canyon that you probably can't find it again. That's a good idea, too. So he was on minute 17 of flight time and wasn't paying attention to the battery indicator when suddenly the Phantom began to descend toward the water and he lost pretty much all control. He's seen darting into the lake in the video, first trying to get a canoe, but realized he didn't have enough time, so he ran in, clothes and all, and barely made it in time to pull the Phantom from the air. You can see it in the video. It's like just about to touch down into water, and he grabs it. So this is the reason why I like using the DJI app personally with the built-in camera, since it sounds like a crazy loud alarm when the battery hits like 30%, and it almost forces you to like fly it down.
I've never gotten the 30%.
Yeah, I've gotten a 30%. It's just like burn, burn, burn. It flashes red lights and everything.
I think it was more. What were the chords of that? A. I thought it was gonna be like bam, 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 bam.
But I mean, so tip for you quadcopter owners, obviously check your battery
call
indicator
shenanigans
all
on
the
this?
time. Is it a fake one?
Yeah.
I don't think so, because he was running full force, but there's some really good fake videos out there.
But why would he be filming himself flying it?
No,
he's
it was
making
his
a review?
family. Like, they were all kind of sitting on the dock, and he's like just testing it out.
Sitting on the dock of the bay, I'll be sitting when the evening comes. One of the greatest whistling songs ever.
Great whistling track. So for all you Digitechs out there, Western Digital is offering a new solution to backing up SD cards on the job. The hard drive company announced the My Passport Wireless, which is a new wireless-capable hard drive with the built-in SD card slot. It's kind of like that Thunderbolt one we had, but it's a wireless one with a built-in slot. So spec-wise, it sports a Wi-Fi hub that can connect 8 different devices at a time. You can also connect via a web dashboard from any browser if you have a laptop with you. It'll stream 6 hours of continuous video too, and up to 20 hours of standby time if you're not using it. It comes in 3 different capacities: 500 gigs, 1 terabyte, and 2 terabytes, which ranges from $130 to $220, which is a pretty good price. It also comes with a USB 3 port if you'd rather just straight up connect it to your PC and not use the wireless function. So it's pretty cool.
Digi Richie.
He's probably going to get one of these, I bet. A couple of Tumblr users, they teamed up and created a new Photoshop series that turns your favorite Marvel heroes into Hello Kitty decked out Avengers. So sprinkled with pink diamonds and pink attire and complete with Hello Kitty logos, the superheroes are every little girl's dream. They had Iron Man, Thor, Spider-Man, Captain America, and more rocking like pink bows and all. I figured I'd lighten the news up with that little segment, but
Thor!
Check them out. And the person who photoshopped them did a pretty good job with it, I would say. The ultra-rare 1200mm f/5.6L Canon lens that MPB Photographic put up for sale a few weeks back is shown in action via a new behind-the-scenes video that they just released. We talked about this a couple weeks ago for going up for sale. Now, the company brought it around London for a ton of sample shots. They even had some fun with it by stacking like a ton of teleconverters and using a crop sensor camera, turning it basically into a 3,840 millimeter lens. Now, the distance they shot at was more than half a mile away from most of their subjects, and the image is still fairly clear and sharp. It's really amazing, some of this stuff, but it's fun to see them, put a mirrorless like EOS M camera on the back of it with a couple teleconverters, turning into this giant super zoom lens. Nothing on that? You got nothing? You're suddenly dying on me? So another interesting photo series by photographer Anelia Laubser. It's called Alien Nation. The photos feature upside-down, close-up black and white portraits.
You've been struck. I've been struck by a smooth criminal.
Where did that come from?
Alien ant farm.
Oh, of people's eyes and foreheads. That's what these pictures are of. Backwards, pretty much. Which in turn, it really mimics someone's face quite well. It's kind of creepy.
The upside down ones.
Yeah. The series was inspired by a Wayne Dyer quote, in quotes, "If you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change," end quote.
Well, thanks, Wayne.
You would really like these though, since they're black and white, contrast heavy, boomified images.
I saw one. I had to look at it really close to understand that it was an upside down head.
Yeah.
It was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was really cool. Really interesting stuff. And finally, Zeiss has officially announced their new Loxia line of lenses for Sony's full-frame E-mount cameras. For example, the A7 series. Product manager Christophe Cazenave.
That would be Christophe.
Christophe Cazenave says in quotes, "These lenses have been designed for photographers who enjoy shooting spontaneous scenes, but without giving away the work of composing the image to the camera."
Wait, can you start over? What are we talking about?
Are you paying attention at all?
Yeah, but you lost me at like spontaneous scenes. I wanted to rip on it, but before I ripped on it...
You want me to start over the entire part?
No, tell me what the gist of it is.
Basically, Zeiss released these lenses for the E-mount lenses, for the E-mount cameras.
Right.
The A7 series.
For people that want to be ready for spontaneous... Isn't that what photography is?
Pretty much.
So that is a stupid statement, Christophe.
Yes. But I figured I'd throw that in there.
Thank you. I just thought that was a stupid statement. I mean, that is photography. For those who want to be ready for the spontaneous moment. No shit.
Yeah. I have nothing.
We created a camera that is ready when you press the shutter button. Thank you.
The lenses, the 35mm f2 comes in at $1,300 and a new 50mm f2 at $950. And they'll be available later this fall for you Sony A7 users.
I'm just checking with
Sony
Sutter.
users.
Did you write down, we found out that the new Sony mount lets you, the new lenses for the new Zeiss lenses allow you to capture spontaneous moments. That's what we learned. I think that's important.
That is what we learned.
We're getting these notes better for the show so everybody can find out why. That's important. Sorry.
And that's photo news.
Oh no, there's not more?
There's not more.
Well, thank you for your photo
You
news.
seem so interested at the end. I should have kept going.
I don't know what happens. I go in these cycles. I got like menopause.
Menopause.
Manpimus.
Yeah, that too.
I do. I go into cycles. It is a cycle. I made a note of something. Oh, Digi Richie. We are working on something with my good friend Richie Myers.
Yes, sir.
Putting together a series that we are tagging him as Digi Richie. So if you want to go follow him on Twitter, it's at the Digi Richie on Twitter. And if you have questions about digiteching, anything that he does, which you're going to find out more about that, you can do hashtag Ask Digi Richie. That's DIGIRICHIE, one word.
Yeah,
we talked about...
I was going to say, don't get confused with us thinking it's DJI because it's not Digi.
No. We talked about, Gary V's doing that Ask Gary V.
Yes.
He's looking to travel to places to do interviews with people.
Oh, yeah?
And be on other people's shows.
Okay.
So
doesn't he do that already?
No, he wants to go to other places.
Okay.
So I invited him down here.
Okay.
So we'll see if it happens.
Well, you did have him on once before, but
Up
it was
in his place.
way
It would
earlier.
be great to have him down here.
That
So
would
if
be
you guys will tweet at Gary, it's GaryVee. That's what he picked on Twitter when he was up there early. So so Gary V, and you can hashtag Ask Gary V. Ask him to come down here to be on Frono's Photo. And then that was getting me thinking, should we do an Ask Frono's Photo show? And you brought up, haven't you been doing that for 100 episodes? Basically on RAWtalk, you've been doing flying solo. So in essence, yes, we've been doing flying solo in the thing. I will debate making it a easier consumable piece of content. It could be an interesting series to do separate also.
I just think it's the same exact thing.
I don't. The reason I don't is because, we've talked about, we've got an hour and a half of content. Not everybody listens to it. What?
My issue is that if people are submitting questions for that, are that you going to get the same exact questions for the flying solo portion if we do that for that week's RAWtalk?
I would maybe take some of those questions and put them there.
I just don't understand why you would watch
I'm still thinking because I'm thinking there's what I'm looking at is what people will be engaged with, and they seem to be engaged very much with his type of video going on, and I don't know that maybe people would still enjoy listening to RAWtalk because it's cool and awesome, and we still answer all these questions, or to hear me answer 3 to 5 questions in a more rapid-fire, contained thing.
Okay.
I don't know. Gear of the week. How about gear of the week?
Gear of the week. What do we have? Oh, I think I know what we have.
They're mittens.
Mittens. If you're shooting in the Arctic.
Mittens. They are. Somebody emailed me. I forget his name. I think it was Bill. These are theheatcompany.com Gear of the Week gloves. So I never had photo gloves. So these are made in Canada. They're nice. And they when you put them on, you start talking Canadian. Hello, what are you doing? You want to go to Jim Hortons?
Such a stereotype.
Is it Jim Hortons? Well, what's the name of the?
I don't know.
It's Tim Hortons. Shit, I got it wrong. Anyway, these are like really industrial strength, medium weight, because the ones I got are medium.
These are like for the serious cold
These are
weather.
for the serious cold, especially the fact that they have on it, these are called extra warm Qualtat Fur Profis. Oh, that's some other language. Heat 3 Special Force Smart, the Heat Company. These are on the tag. They show military men in.
So clearly, that must be.
It's
legit.
like James Bond. Yeah, so it's got military men with
If they're
M16s.
using it, then we got to use it.
So basically, we couldn't shoot photos like this because it's got these mitten things. But then,
suddenly your fingers pop out.
my fingers aren't in the right holes. What is going on here?
I think we're missing your pinky, dude.
What is Oh, there's 2 fingers in here. But anyway,
That's
it
what
has
she said.
on it the ability to work a smartphone
Yes.
or a touch device because you can do that. But anyway, and then this thing would Anyway, these are nice mittens.
They are nice.
They're not
I don't know
mittens.
if I would necessarily use them for shooting.
Well, only if you're in extreme cold.
Extreme cold.
Right.
Then yeah.
These I wouldn't wear these in the hockey rink. I would try to get a different glove. Maybe if they made something less that was more just the fingers and it was really tight.
Oh wow, it's really nice inside though.
That is what she said.
That's what he said actually.
So anyway, and look, these things will attach here so that your fingers can stick out.
Well, and it's got like a little
Oh,
secret,
it's magnetic.
secret compartment. Yeah, and I do like.
Wait, there's
the
a
whole,
secret compartment?
Well, yeah, this whole zipper part, right? Isn't
Yeah, I
there a
don't know what
secret
that's
compartment?
for.
I don't know.
Anyway.
But I do like the magnetic clips. That's really nice. You can do
So
that.
those, if you want to check them out, these guys send them to me. You can go to theheatcompany.com. They're Canadian. So yeah, why don't we? Is it time for the interview?
It is time for the interview.
All right. So why don't we lead into the interview before you get up?
Gotcha.
We got Matt Chow here, and what you guys are going to find out is the guy that was my mentor growing up. And we're talking when I was 13, 14 years old that I used to hang out at the Mid-City Camera Store, which now is a video game store and was next to Hong Kong Gourmet, so I could always go get some Chinese food. I used to hang out there like it was my Cheers. Where other people would go to the mall, I would hang out at the camera store and talk to anybody that walked in about photography.
Did everybody know your name?
Everybody did know my name. that annoying kid who doesn't leave us alone. So that is what happened. So we're going to talk about Matt. We're going to talk about his photographic career, what he's doing now, what he's done in the past, why he helped me, all this other stuff. And now let's get into that. All right, so we're back here with Matt Chow, our special guest here on RAWtalk. Matt, welcome to the loft.
Thank you for having me.
You good?
Good.
Is your heart beating?
I hope so.
I mean, are you nervous?
Not really.
All right, so why don't we just jump right into it? I was a young photographer. You were a young photographer. You were working at Mid-City Camera. I come walking into the store. Do you have any recollection of this?
I do, actually.
So
Vividly, as a matter of fact. And I remember you coming in with your mother.
Yeah.
But I remember the one thing that stands out the most to me from when I first met you was like you're just like young arrogance, like totally like the Eric Lindros picture.
Yeah.
Hockey photographer, like from the get-go. And
Yeah.
I was already out of Antonelli. I was already shooting, and then I was working full-time. And here comes this kid, and he's trying to learn about everything that like I couldn't get rid of you some days. You would just come in, hang out. Customers would come in that were shooting professionally, and you would bother them when I was unable to answer a question. It was kind of cool, actually. I mean, it was,
that sounds like what I would do. Instead of hanging out at the mall, I would hang out at the store.
yes.
So people always ask me, how did I end up shooting Nikon? Do you want to explain
I
that
had nothing
one?
to do with that at all.
You sold me a Nikon.
Actually, it was,
And I've always wondered this. Did you sell me a Nikon because you got a bigger spiff on them at the store?
you know what I think it was? I think people in general, and this I think goes for photographers, it goes for salespeople, you're always better, you're always a more, you're always a better salesperson if you know the product because you use the product than you are if you're just selling something because somebody puts a dollar sign on it and says, here, sell this because you're going to make XYZ amount of money. You know, I was out shooting in the field with all this stuff and trying to make money myself with it. So if something didn't work, I'm not going to really want to promote it. Or if I am going to promote it, it's not going to be like, it's going to be not believable.
Right.
People are going to be able to see right through it.
So what did you sell me? You remember?
No.
Not,
was it a 6006?
No,
or-
it's after that.
Oh,
It's actually
God,
hanging
don't-
on my door. It's my peephole now.
Was it an N80?
N90S.
N90S, okay.
N90S. First lens, 80 to 200 2.8.
Which was like pretty much the prerequisite, I think, at the time. It still is. I mean, as a matter of fact,
Well,
the
The discussions that we had back then were, everybody's like, oh, you need to buy a wider lens. You need to start wider. But I was shooting sports. I was shooting hockey. So I knew what I needed to shoot.
and that was and when you came to me and you first said, hey, I want to do this specific thing. I want to shoot hockey. It's the lighting, and I had already been familiar with that. So I kind of was like, yeah, well, you kind of have to throw a little bit of money at it if you want to get, because I knew you weren't going to be happy with the result from your generic lenses.
Well, speaking of generic lenses, the first thing that I had when I remember this going into Mid-City, there was the guy with the beard there. I don't remember his name, but I had a 100 to 300 Canon on my EOS Elan. So before you sold me an N90S, and he sold me like a pink filter because he's like, you need that to filter out the lights there, which then
Right.
cut out another piece of aperture lighting there, whatever.
Yeah. Well, I mean, looking at what you had already done, I kind of was pretty sure what you needed, or at least what I thought you needed, and from there it just progressed.
Yeah.
This is really nice, by the way.
You like the table?
Oh, it's very nice.
It's comfortable.
It's quite comfortable.
Playing the poker. So tell us what you shot back in the day. What was your forte?
I was shooting, I shot aviation almost exclusively up until getting into Antonelli. And that was my reality check. That was like, hey, you suck at pretty much everything with a camera except shooting aviation.
Well, you would shoot what, like 25 ASA film?
I was shooting Kodachrome 64 quite a bit, 100 speed. Like, I forget what the ones was popular at the time. Was probably like Ectopress or Ectocolor, one of the color print films. All low speed stuff. Sometimes the 25 speed Kodachrome.
How did you get into shooting aviation? Why'd you go that direction?
Passion as a kid. I just grew up around airplanes, really loved it. And nobody in my family was really into aviation, but growing up near the Naval Air Station and just seeing the planes, and I just got into it. My dad handed me a Nikon FG. It was my first interchangeable lens camera. I could barely hold the thing up. I think I was like 7 or 8 years old. And my mom took me to an air show, and I was like, dude, this is so cool. And I had like, I don't know, a 24 shot roll of film in there. Half of the shots were like either out of focus or like really, really off.
Right.
But I was hooked.
Well, did you have a mentor growing up, or did you just figure it out on your own?
Yes and no. I mean, I had in the aviation photography community, everybody's helpful. There's a lot of guys that like, they see a young guy with a camera and they see like that you're enthusiastic. Kind of similar to what happened when you and I first met. They want to help you. They want to give you the pointers. I mean, and granted, you run into the same thing there. Everybody's got their own perspective, point of view. They all have something that they want to try to teach you that might be a little different. So you take from one guy a little bit and the next guy, and you I like to consider myself largely self-taught as far as the technical side of it, but
Yeah.
I had help.
I mean, I remember coming in there, all the time. How did I get there? Did I walk over? Or did my mom like drop me off? Because I didn't drive. I wasn't driving yet. I used to just show up and hang out.
And you were there quite a bit, but I think, I mean, and hopefully you learn. I mean, you learned a lot. Obviously, you've really,
Well, I would come in and you'd print my film, and then you'd sit there and you'd critique it. You'd tell me what you liked, what you didn't like, which is obviously very helpful for somebody trying to do something. I would shoot every sport at the school, and then I'd come in and get it processed. And I would say the worst thing to somebody processing a roll of film: this roll is very important. Every freaking roll that you process is very important. So if you put any emphasis on somebody processing your stuff and you tell them not to mess it up, there's more of a chance that they will mess it up than if you told them nothing.
Exactly.
So I remember you weren't there one day. It was one of your days off. And I bought a 24-120 lens. And then I told you this when you were in, and you made me return it.
Yeah, that was the first gen 24-120, which I didn't care for it at all. And again, being in a situation where you can test this stuff as soon as it hits the store, at the time that was awesome, because I would have a job coming up and I would say, you know what, I'm gonna borrow this, and I'd take it out and I'd shoot with it a little bit just to get a feel for it. And if it was something that I didn't like, if either the ergonomics weren't good, the quality of the finished images wasn't good for whatever reason. You always look at yourself as a photographer first, but if I know that I'm shooting something with a certain degree of consistency and all of a sudden like the images like look not good, and the only variable that I changed was a new lens, then obviously, and that was my...
And I think you were probably the one who were like, look, this isn't a 2.8. People wonder all the time, why did I always get into 2.8s? You were the one who sat there and said, you need this glass to do it right. And it's the absolute freaking truth 99.9% of the time, is that you need the right gear, the right lenses, more so than anything else to do the job. So the first lens I ever bought was that 80-200 2.8 Nikon, the two-touch one. Then after that, that's the only lens was in my bag.
Right.
I didn't have any other lenses. I didn't have a wide angle because I didn't have a need for it. But then a used 35-70 2.8 came in. You're like, you need to buy this.
Right.
And then I remember there was a 20 2.8 because I didn't have anything wider, because back in the day on full frame, 20 was really, really wide.
20 was pretty wide.
So you're like, you should buy the 22.8. And I had a 22.8 of 35-70 2.8, which acted as a crappy macro. Also, and that 80-200, and that's what I shot with.
And I think the idea behind that was just to try to get you to cover all the bases the best we could with with what we had to work with, which was a limited budget, because nobody going into when they're just starting young,
13, 14, 15-year-old kid.
No young teenager has that kind of cash flow to be just dropping like $5,000-$6,000 on all brand new stuff.
Well, there was one kid.
There was one
which
kid.
we won't go into names.
We're not going to name any names.
Every big piece of glass ever.
Who, by the way, is still shooting, I believe.
He is, because I told you I ran into him at the Flyers game.
And I looked him up.
And I didn't have a chance to talk to him because I forgot his name, which we're not saying.
We're not going to say.
Because I forgot it anyway. But I did run into him, and I remember he would come in there and he'd have all the 400 2.8s and 300 2.8s, and we figured out why.
And you know what? And that it boils down to niche photography.
He was shooting a lot of sport, baseball.
Almost exclusively.
Yeah.
In kind of the same vein that you were shooting a lot of the hockey stuff, but you were showing a lot more ambition to like try different stuff. And I thought that was kind of cool, because then it's like you're asking about more than just like a $5,000 piece of glass that no like normal person can afford.
Right.
And you're trying to figure out a way, well, how do I do this? What do I need to accomplish this goal? So you already had preconceived ideas in your mind.
So what was it that made you for a couple of years basically mentor me and help me out?
You had a lot of ambition. There was a lot of like what I saw when I first started, kind of like with you, except you were a lot more stubborn. Like you wouldn't go away. And I don't mean that in a bad way. What I'm trying to say is that you know what I'm saying. There's like a lot of like people who they want to learn something, but they do so with kind of like they lack. You can tell there's something missing from that like relationship. When you came along, it was almost like I didn't feel like anything was lost on you. I felt like everything that I was teaching you, it was gonna. You would come back in with images and say, "Hey, remember what you told me last week? Well, I did this, and this is the result." And it really worked, or it didn't work at all, or I didn't and that was cool because you were able to see pros and cons.
Yeah. For anybody out there at home, the reason I brought Matt in is because it's important to have mentors. It's important to then talk to them and tell them how much you appreciate the fact that they were there at that point to help you out. Because if Matt wasn't there to help me out when I was starting, I don't know what direction I would have gone. Definitely one direction. But no, I don't know what direction I would have gone. I could have been shooting a Pentax for all we know. And no, I'm not ripping on Pentax because it could have been a Canon. But there was just... It's just one of those things. Like, I had my teacher on from high school who was very important to my photography career, and Matt was the one who got it kick-started. So I did recently go out and do the AC Air Show. I'm going to have you critique my images for another video. That's gonna be a separate video. We're gonna do that today.
Looking forward to that. Yep.
Right, and you gave me. I called you when Steven said, "Hey, I want to go shoot the air show, or would you like to go shoot the air show?" I was like, "Yeah, let me call Matt and see what I need to do."
Right.
So you gave me some pointers. The people out there gave me some pointers, and it was hard. But what I did is I went through and I edited down to find the best of the best, because that is what I want you to look at. I want you to critique those. Isn't that? I mean, that's what a critique should be.
Essentially, yeah. I mean, and everybody at some point can benefit from critiquing. I used to do critiquings for, I don't know if you remember when I was doing like the JCC, some of the other stuff. I was invited in from a number of different photography clubs to do critiquing. And I enjoy it because it's a way for people to have somebody else look at the pictures. And I don't mean like negative, tearing the picture apart. That happened to me a lot when I was, especially when I was in school, where they would really beat you up on stuff. People sometimes learn better when they hear more positive stuff. Like, I've watched you doing your rapid fire critiques and that kind of stuff, and that style of critiquing is what people learn from. They're going to be more receptive to that.
Well, you went through Antonelli at a time before me, and I'm sure you had teachers that would just rip the shit out of your prints instead of giving the positive stuff.
I almost didn't make it through the school. My first semester, I almost failed out of the school, because here I am, like, I'm like a hot shot out there shooting like air shows and like airplanes and all kinds of fancy stuff. And the next thing you know, they're like, "Can you take a picture of that flower?" I mean, and that wasn't quite like the flower thing.
Was it Marcia?
I'm not going to name any names.
Was it Marcia?
But there was this whole, hey, you really need to improve on how you see things. And I had never heard that before.
Well, Marcia was the one who, first day of class, handed out basically... what are they? Slide mounts.
Yes.
She handed out a slide mount and said, "Keep this in your wallet next to the condom."
Yep.
I believe.
And walk around with the...
And see the world, which I then went on and made see the world keychains, and my business cards now are basically the same thing.
I like that.
Huh?
I like them.
Thank you.
They're cool looking.
Thank you. But she did that, and that, as tough as a teacher as she was, because she was fine art, and neither you or I were not fine art.
Not even close.
She pulled something out of us.
Right.
That we finally understood that we can't just be an aerial photographer or just be a sports photographer. You have to see the world different. And that's one of the things I took out of her class. That was probably one of the only things I... Well,
no,
no,
you know what?
No, do you know what else I took out of her class? And then I'll let you get to that. She always made us print full frame.
Full frame.
With the negative carrier that was ground out.
You had to use the filed out carrier so you could see the entire edge.
She wanted to make sure that you were filling the frame. Yep. So I give her that. She did, those are major things.
Filling the frame and being conscious of what's in those edges, what's in the corners.
Yeah. She was very good. Sorry.
But I was going to say Todd Murray. A little shout out to Todd Murray.
Dude, Todd wasn't there when I was there, and it was
Todd
probably one of the biggest
was
failures.
One of the biggest helps for me personally, because here I was a little bit out of my element. One day Todd kind of pulled me aside and said, "Look, what do you like shooting other than aviation?" I said, "I'm kind of digging the whole people thing. I'm kind of enjoying doing the portraiture, but I'm not very, I'm still working on the rapport and establishing the relationships, and kind of." He was the guy that really, I think, sealed the deal for me as far as that's the direction I wanted to go. So I kind of owe him a lot, as far as maybe not that is a form of mentoring.
Yeah.
Right? I mean...
Oh, yeah. No, having the teachers that see the potential that you have, and then they try to rip it out for you to help you get better. Because I know you did a lot of studio stuff, because you were shooting a lot of cars and rims and things like that.
Yep.
So coming out of school, you're working at a camera store. Mm-hmm. How did you make a living as a photographer? How did you get jobs? I
was working, basically any free time that I had, I was out pining for jobs. I had, the business card, and it was
pre-internet.
This is pre-digital sort of. In general. I mean, Photoshop was really in its infancy at the time.
Well, I remember it being in the store one day when a Nikon rep brought in a D1.
Yes. And it was like...
What is this thing?
It was like a whole other world. Was like it was ridiculous. Like a ripple in time. It was ridiculous. you know, it was about getting out and shooting. And the more you would get out and shoot, and the more people I would photograph, and the more events I would photograph, the more people would, who did that, and then it was a lot of word of mouth stuff because the social media aspect didn't exist yet.
Right.
So
I know for a while you got out of shooting.
Yes.
What brought you back in, and then how have you done?
Well,
but what's funny? Sorry. I ended up being your mentor to get into digital.
Correct.
Because it went the other way.
Well, there was a paradigm shift. Film, I enjoyed film so much, and then all of a sudden, here's this like intangible. Digital's like you can't. It's not the touchy-feely aspect was gone. I loved that part of it, but I feel like getting back into it. The birth of my son, I think, had a lot to do with it. I mean, all of a sudden, I realized, wait a minute, here I am. I'm like this, photographer guy, and don't have any. I have to pick up a camera and get some images, and it just clicked again. It just, I took the break because I burned myself out, but getting back into it, there was some hesitation, and that's when I, got in touch with you and I said, hey, I need a little bit of a, kickstart here. I need a little bit of advice because I'm not. The learning curve was steep. Yeah,
but you got there, and you got there pretty quick. And now since you've had your son, you're getting jobs from other people just shooting kids.
Yeah,
now?
well, I started the website, mjchowphotography.com.
Well, spell Ciao for me.
CIAO.
Yeah, that.
Like Ciao, but it's Italian.
Got it.
I started the website, and actually, I was getting jobs before that. I did some work of my son, some pictures of my wife and my son, and people saw them, and it kind of just rolled from there. So now I'm doing a lot of families. I'm doing a lot of the toddlers. I'm doing headshots, of course, which is something that I always enjoyed, especially in school.
Isn't it funny how it works there, though? It's like your son got you back into it. You started posting the pictures online, and people liked what you did, and you were able to capitalize on it.
Yeah, social media is just...
It's not rocket science. No. It really isn't. And when you have the talent and you have the skills, you have the quality of work, people see it, you then have to ask for the sale. And that's something that you haven't been afraid to do.
No.
So that's not something I knew back in the day when I was coming out to the store.
I mean, and the same goes, a long conversation with a fellow photographer ensued after I hired you to do my wedding.
Oh, right.
If you remember.
I do remember.
And that
I shot your wedding.
Someone kind of in a sort of sour grapes kind of way coming to me and saying, really, you're hiring somebody that you taught to. I said, well, isn't that kind of like the ultimate?
Who was it?
I'm not going to say any names, especially on this. But
Write it down.
We'll tell you afterwards.
Well, I want to know the name of this person. Do I know this person?
No, I'm not sure that you do.
Oh, all right. Well,
it's really, to be honest, it's really not going to be relevant to this discussion. It's relevant simply because it makes the point that I feel like that's the most sincere form of kind of accomplishment is when somebody that taught you to do something, hires you to do that thing that he taught you to do. Is weird, but
well, no, when you called me and were like, you wanted me to shoot your wedding, that's what I felt. It's just it means like I made it
right
from where I started, and you see that. And the funny thing is, my college teacher, my high school teacher, called me to shoot his daughter's wedding. Mm-hmm. I didn't do it, but he called me first to see if I wanted to shoot that wedding.
If you wanted to do
so
it.
that means something that you guys all who helped me out saw in the end. Out of all the students and photographers that they've known, ended up calling me to do it.
Yeah, it was, and the album's beautiful, by the way. We love the album.
Yeah.
So,
it was nice, wasn't it?
Yeah, having children, like my son, the birth of my son was like spectacular. It's just been one of those things where now I'm, I have like an awesome photographic subject to test gear and practice with all the time.
And that's what I'm kind of curious about when I have a kid. Am I going to overshoot?
Yeah,
and just keep shooting?
You can't. It's just awesome.
No,
it's fun.
So, what tips do you have because being that you jumped back into it in the digital age, what kind of recommendations do you have for the listeners out there who are looking to pick up gigs and are just like, I don't know where to look next?
I think it's not really a matter. You have to put your work out there. You know what I mean? There's no substitute for putting your work out in as many avenues as you possibly can. If it's, I have yet to touch Instagram, but it's on my list. Facebook, starting websites nowadays, you can do that. Like your Squarespace is your thing.
Is that what you did?
I did Bluehost. What am I using? WordPress.
Oh, you're using WordPress because you probably have a clue about what you're doing.
Yeah,
but I might as well say, if you want to check out Squarespace, you can go to squarespace.com/fro And you can get a 14-day free trial and then use my code FRO and get 10% off your first year.
And that's it. I mean, just, put the pictures out there for consumption. Let people see them. I mean, you don't stand to really lose anything because you haven't made anything yet.
Right.
You know what I mean? So,
and here's another thing. If you just put your stuff up there, it doesn't mean people will show up.
Right.
And how about this? There used to be a guy that would come into the store by the name of Al
yes.
Zaroli,
Yes.
who probably doesn't listen to podcasts. I still talk to Al all the time. And Al knows this, that Al is a business person who pushes a button.
Correct.
And he will tell you that he is a business person who pushes a button. He knows how to schmooze people. He knows how to get the job. And the photography kind of lacks. And he'll tell you this all day long.
Yes.
Because, one, he was always one like, oh, I don't need to buy that lens. I'll just use this kit. But he's doing professional jobs, getting paid. And then you'd see the results and you'd be like, ah.
See, I mean, and you can look. I'm hesitant to form an opinion on that. One thing that I will say is that with the advent of digital and with everybody going willy-nilly with like devices all the time, like, cell phones and cameras and God only knows what all, you really do have to sell your work. Because if you are trying to push to a family of 4 where they're already, trying to put food on the table, pay the mortgage, the car payments, etc., you have to convince them, hey, this 30 by 40 something canvas is going to look awesome on your wall, but it's going to cost you this much.
Right.
So there's the photography sells itself, but you're moving product also, and you do have to be able to sell a higher. You have to expect more for your work.
Yeah. Which
the
isn't
button
always
pusher
easy.
with the businessman that pushes the button thing is one thing, but that, in my opinion, is not what we do.
We have everything. We have both. You have the ability to have quality work and then the ability to back it up.
Right.
So that's the important thing when it's in business. For any of you guys out there,
yeah.
is that when you're putting your work online, you pick your work, you showcase what you do. It's not lying. It's not hiding anything. You have to be able to back up what you do.
Yeah, you have to be able to put work out there, and you also have to be able to deal with issues.
Oh,
I mean, professional photography is problem solving, and that probably better than anybody. I mean, just shooting concerts and stuff. I only did a handful. I think I did a couple of Ozfests back in the late 90s. You've done some incredible stuff with concerts. So firsthand, when you walk into a venue and you don't know really what the lighting's going to look like for that particular performer or whatever the case may be, and you have to adapt.
Yeah.
So it's 9 times out of 10, it's problem solving before you even...
Sure. So let's walk back to 13, 14-year-old Jared before we wrap up. What would you... Well, what do you think now, looking back, about where I've come?
It's amazing. It blows my mind. Like, I can't... It's very difficult for me to look back at that, Jared, and then see what you're doing now. I think it's awesome. I think it's great because you've taken like I had every single step you were accomplishing another goal, and you grew it all the way into this this the whole thing, the RAWtalk and like podcasts and all the other stuff. Now you're the guy that's getting the new equipment, and yeah, you're in the same position but on a larger scale. Like it, hate it, etc.
Sure.
It's pretty fascinating, and I'm pretty proud of you. I got to be honest, to see where you've gone from that Eric Lendros picture,
which was taken from my seat,
which
through the glass.
But
that wasn't that freaking good. It wasn't good.
Well, your mother was very confident. She was very confident that you were going to be able to do it, and I totally agreed with her.
I remember the one day I went in there and you handed me a bag. It was a Tamrac 610 or something, and I'm like, "Why are you giving me a bag for free?" Then you're like, well, your mom, it's actually a gift from your mom.
Oh.
Because she prepaid, I know over time she paid for the bag with whatever money she had.
Yep.
So she did that, and then you gave me that bag.
Everybody's got to start somewhere. You know what I mean? Where you wind up is entirely up to you. But
yeah. Are you going to find the bag? It's up there on the piano. That's where I put it, because we've been cleaning my place, and that's the one thing that is I finally put it somewhere. It still has her handwritten name tag on it.
Oh, there it is. Yep.
So this is the bag that I keep. Yeah.
Very cool.
Yes, you wrote that with the address, phone number. But yeah, you handed me this in blue, and I used this thing forever. It replaced this old really crappy...
I think you were using...
What?
Was it even a camera bag that you were using before this?
It was a video bag that my mom used for her Video 8 camera, or Betamax. It was some old thing, and all the rubbery stuff started to peel off. It was brown. It was this brown bag.
I vaguely remember it. I just remember that it was not in very good condition.
No, it wasn't a camera bag very much so. But this was a real deal bag. This was like a $230 bag, I think, back in the day.
Back in the day, the Tamarack stuff was... Tamarack was really... I mean, Low Pro didn't have...
They weren't around yet.
They weren't even around yet.
But no,
So, yeah.
and Think Tank didn't exist, which is what I use now. But I will keep this bag. So this is the bag. I appreciate you coming in.
Thank you for
Obviously,
having
I
me.
appreciate you being the guy back in the day to take one of the first people in photography to help me out.
And
There's been a bunch, not too many, maybe 4, and you've definitely started it. So thank you very much, man.
No problem.
Thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
And there we have it. We'll be back to wrap up the show. You can check out Matt's work. What's the website again?
mjchowphotography.com.
And there you have it. And we'll be back to wrap up the show. So that was cool. Did you you told us that you had a mentor growing up, the high school guy, the high school teacher, or no, it was a neighbor down the street?
Yes, neighbor down the street.
So
I had my one of my best friends' dad was pretty much my mentor growing up as far as photography goes.
yeah, I mean Matt was there day one. Well, not day one, but he was one of the first people to sit there and just help me figure out what I needed to do.
And you always bring up that bag. I mean, you've had that here ever since I've met you, I guess. And I never really knew the significance behind it. I knew your mom gave it to you as a gift. I didn't realize he was the one that really gave it to you from her. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, he was I guess she must have come in and
The middleman.
and put money down on it whenever she could,
Yeah.
because she wasn't working a full-time job then.
Mm-hmm.
She was a stay-at-home mom. So I guess whatever it took, she figured it out. It's
great.
That bag, I still have it.
Yeah.
So definitely that was cool. All right, Sutter. Hey, did you learn anything new while you're getting the Wheel of Fro? Did you learn anything new during that interview?
I mean, I learned a lot more of the background information as far as just you growing up and getting into photography.
Yeah.
It's interesting piecing all these things together. Like I've met your high school photography teacher, your Antonelli photography teacher, and then I've just met him. I mean, it all comes down to, it really gets to see where you've came from.
Thank you, Sutter, for getting this up on the wheel. I mean, the wheel back up on here.
Absolutely.
We are going to spin the Wheel of Fro for a wonderful prize for somebody named... After I spin, I'll tell you who it is. So what we have on the wheel, we've got Borrow Lenses, $250. Squarespace, squarespace.com/Fro. Get your 14-day free trial. Also use code FRO if you decide you would like it, which so many other Fro readers have already done. And they get 10% off their first year or month, depending on which one they want to do. But it comes down to almost 80-some bucks a year for that first year, which is a hell of a great deal to have a turnkey website solution. Plus, I want to do some more rapid fire critiques or rapid fire website critiques. We have a Fro prize, Black Rapid strap that goes on here, which we haven't landed on very often. We have the Fro prize that is sandwiching the DJI Phantom, which is $1,300. Think Tank photo, Rode microphone. Check out, go to store.rodemic.com, use code IShootRaw, and you can get 50% off any of the swag in their store. Honestly, the varsity jacket is awesome, and for that thing, everything is awesome. for $20 plus shipping, you can't even find a jacket of that quality in the store for less. And the rugby shirt is actually pretty darn cool.
It is pretty
so
cool.
Rode Micro Fro prize, Adorama picks. They are going to give some free credit. Borrow Lenses again. Coming around the mountain, Lexar is up there. You got the question mark. If it lands on that, you pick anything on the wheel except for the DJI Phantom. And now it is time for the spin.
Wheel of Fro!
Just wanted to get a good spin. I had to get my finger in the knob. Round and round it goes. Where it stops, nobody knows the trouble I've seen. Nobody knows the Black Rapid strap. Congratulations.
Woo!
So who was playing?
I don't know who was playing.
Well, I didn't tell anybody who was playing. It's not Jack Nicholas. It's Jake Nicholas. So congratulations, Jake Nicholas. I believe he's in Colorado. He's been tweeting me a lot.
Did you pick him because of the name?
No, I picked him because he's been tweeting me a lot, and I
Yeah.
didn't know that I think it's a 13-year-old kid because I clicked on the
Cool.
Twitter, and I think he's in Colorado. But you see, Twitter is a way. He's been asking questions on Twitter that have been good, and I've been responding to them because 140 characters, you better be able to get your point across.
Yep.
Right? That's what I like about the whole Ask Frono's Photo or anything on
Quick and
there.
to the point.
It's that you ask your question. Oh, because I got a message on Facebook, and it was like, I know you may never see this. I know you probably won't respond to this. Don't do that. I don't.
Don't even message on Facebook, first of all, I think.
It's harder to message on Facebook, especially for you. But for me, there's 2,999 unread messages in that
my
Facebook
God.
box because there's so many that come in. And I do peruse it, and I try to read it. But if you're going to do that reverse bullshit of, I know you may never read this, is there when it comes to writing an email or writing a letter to anybody, if you sit there and you say, do I need this statement to be in this correspondence for it to be successful? Then you would know that, I know you may not read this. I know that you're busy. I know that you're super busy. Get to the point.
Yep.
People will respect that more if you just get to the point. Hi, I'm looking for X. Thank you for your time. Done. Because if you take a paragraph to explain to me why you're calling or why you're emailing, I'm not, it's a turnoff. It takes too long to do.
Yeah, there's definitely a couple people on Twitter that I'm constantly tweeting back and forth with, just about whether it's gear questions or just photography questions in general. It's so much easier. Easiest thing to respond on there.
So exactly. Wheel of Fro winner, Jake Nicholas. Thank you to everybody on the Wheel of the Fro. We're going to get into the Rappy McRapperson part of this. I want to thank Matt Chow of MJCIA.O. Oh, jeez. I'm
doing it over again.
MJ Chow, CIAO.com. There's a photography.com? Matt,
Third time's a charm.
It's MJChowphotography.com. God. Gosh.
Oh my gosh.
So, so Matt, thank you for coming in and sharing all of those backstories. Rode microphone, I shoot raw. Use that code at store.rodemic.com. Get 50% off your order. I want to thank Sutter. Thank you for keeping more detailed notes. I know it's harder while you're keeping notes to talk.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk? And where's your hat? Just talk.
I left it over there when I fell off the chair during the interview.
You did fall. So this is what happens. We're doing the interview with Matt, and we're using the chairs from Frono's movies, or just off to the side so somebody can sit in it when they're not on the show. And I hear him slip off the front, but then he makes it like he did it on purpose. And he's walking around going do 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 because he didn't want to make it seem like he actually fell out of the chair.
I wish that was on the GoPro angle. I don't think that's going to show up.
That's not going to be in the
It's too
GoPro
far,
angle because
yeah.
he did fall out of the chair.
That would have been awesome.
Okay, so as we continue to wrap it up, you can go to fronosphoto.com/RAWtalk-102 to get all of the photo news, stories, and more. Don't forget about the second annual Allen's Nikon-apalooza on October 18th at Allen's Camera from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. with an SLR giveaway and a taco truck, as well as trade-in incentives and deals and RAWtalk from 10:30 to 12, I believe, with live Wheel of Fro spinning. So you better get there early, around 10, to be there for the show.
Rain or shine.
Rain or shine, we will be there recording outdoors. Hopefully it doesn't rain
I'm praying it doesn't rain.
because we don't need power, but we like to have some power.
That would be nice.
So we've got that. We are heading to Germany. We have to figure out what next week's show is going to bring, how we're going to do that, because I don't know that we're going to record a RAWtalk in Germany. We will be at Photokina. We'll be in Poland, Warsaw, and Krakow, so pay attention to the Facebook or the Twitter for more information, because we have a very busy schedule there because we are doing some touring stuff for 3 days or 2.5 days in Poland. So we'll be there on the 12th, leaving on the 15th. We'll be getting to Germany the evening of the 15th, and the 16th we will be at Photokina for the whole day, and the 17th we'll be at Photokina. That's It's Tuesday and Wednesday we'll be at Photokina. Those are our days there. So if you're coming to the show, just look for us. I may put up a meetup somewhere around there, and it would be nice to hang out with you guys and go out to just drink if that's what you want to do.
And we'll probably have you with a microphone or two doing man on the street stuff.
On the street stuff.
So be prepared to answer some random questions.
I may just find people that don't know me, but that may be hard there.
Yeah.
That kind of may be hard there. So gear of the week, we use theheatcompany.com for gloves. If you want to check those out and if you find that they are interesting for you, definitely go ahead and do that. So I am ready to finish the show.
Let's do it.
That is it. Thank you guys for watching and or listening. Jared Poland, FroKnowsPhoto.com. See ya.